days and weird maintenance times. Luckily, none of that, with season actually ending today as well.
That is actually, is it ending today? I thought it was like the 11th of September.
No, it's tonight.
Well, better play some Hero League tonight. Try and get rid of my my bronze border because I'm smurfing with Crisis. But let's talk about this one right here. ETC and Greymane. Those are the band's red team. They are Darksided and blue team are NMD. So after 2 games of ETC, that's it. Darksided said, we've had enough. Greymane's been taken away. Malthael, I mean, it's a pick that either team can play. And for this map in particular, especially with those Immortals in the middle, definitely a high contest.
Yeah, you really value those heroes that can race down the Immortal because it just makes it so much easier to push with it. Malthael, very, very good at racing. Vala also top up there. Lunara, Artanis. I mean, yeah, the list could go on and on. Even the Zebra to some extent. Let's see what these guys want to bring out. NMD, they've shown that they weren't afraid of Darkseid's Garrosh. Even back-to-back, they didn't ban it either game. Arguably, he would not work as well on this map because it's just so objective-focused and it's limited laning time. You have to go in, but everyone's already so clumped up around the Immortals.
And if you know Icebold, you know what tanks he loves to play. If he can't get his ETC, then he'll play Mirrodin all day long. I'm really excited to see what kind of build he brings to this one. Is it going to be the empowered Q damage for the race? Is it going to be the third wind? Who knows? It could even be a DPS build where he jumps on in and he looks to try and top those DPS numbers, imagining that he's a Tyrande in that tank ability. But so far, Rhaegar and Mirrodin definitely got some potential to hit hard and hit home. But, I mean, speak of the devil, Vandy, they say, look, Garrosh just works anywhere. We are Darksided. We will make it work.
We're going to make it work. He's too good to pass up. Yeah, maybe if everyone's still centered around the Immortals, there still is a little bit of that laning phase, and that's where you can utilize that Wrecking Ball to get the best picks. As we saw early in the game, Physics getting caught out a couple times before. He got his all-important Illusionist talent to make sure he could teleport further away. That Muradin, it's funny that you say that. On a map like this as well, we came back because my Muradin decided to build Bruiser because the DPS on the team kept dying. It was just up to me and him. So don't joke about it. Don't meme about it. It can work, especially on a map like this.
I mean, that's what I always run with because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm an assassin main and all I know is to do DPS, right? So it doesn't matter about tanking. If you're living, who really cares? Genji is the ban of choice right now for NMD. Flicking it over into the court of Darksided, we've seen a heavy prioritization on the likes of Arthas all series long. Are we going to see the same come across again? This time, hovering the Ghoul down. One big thing to actually take away, Vandy, is as a result of Greymane being banned away, there is no Chromie ban. And Chromie, although not the best on this map, once again, can actually be used.
Hacky's shown that he's still happy to play that Chromie, just like they're still happy to take that Garrosh. It doesn't matter about the map so much as long as they feel confident that they can get value with that hero. The comfort pick trumps all, Skimmy, and that's what the boys have shown time and time again. Tassadar, this time falling to a second prioritization ban, so really both teams valuing so much more. Greymane, he's just too good at racing the Immortal, and like I said, the ETC, they felt it was very pivotal to them losing and changing the tempo of the game's last round.
And with Tassadar being banned away as well, I mean, it really, as I say, takes Vala out of the ideal situation as well. Vala, obviously another really good hero with the Hungering Arrow build to whittle down the Immortal's health in little to no time whatsoever. But I suppose Lunara is still available. It used to be Lahal on that ranged assassin when he was playing for Trump Sports, now on a support. So is Lunara a potential pick here? Leoric is going to be locked on in, saying, look, if we can't get Greymane, we can't get Malthael, we need some way to shut down this SM Orc-style tank. And they go back to basics. They say, Leeming worked for us last time. Leeming will work again.
They want that damage. They don't have the buddy Greymane, but this time they have other options. Like you said, Lunara's still available. Vala's still on the table. I mean, Vala arguably not so good because of that Garrosh and Uther. And, I mean, Darkseid as well. You don't know what they've picked. She can be very, very easily countered. So leaving that one to last, it's nice having that last pick because you can respond accordingly. Darkseid now, what do they want? They don't have any ranged form of damage as of yet.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think through what the different options are. You've got obviously Garrosh and Uther. That's just stun, flip. You need some execution off that. Malthael pads the stats. He gets them all beefed up. But how do you kill? I mean, Tyke is all day long. Demise loves his hero, and he's not afraid to bust out whenever he gets a chance. And Lunara. So it's not going to be on the side of NMD. Darkseid would say this is a very attractive pick for us right now, and that's what we're going to roll with.
Double range damage. So they went from having none to having more than enough. So great stuff to see. Also going to help them race so hard. So as I'm looking at the comp now, definitely hands on the Immortal Shredders. It's going to be Dark-Sided, and it now flips it to NMD. We need the fight. We need to be able to defend our Immortal. We're not going to win on race just alone. We need to be able to team fight and then go for the Immortal.
Final pick right now. What are they thinking on the side of NMD? They've got the sniping potential with the Mirrodin for the Stormbot. They've got the lock-in potential with the Entomb. Li Ming can obviously funnel through that Entomb with a lot of direct burst damage. I'm thinking they need something else, however. I mean, as ambiguous as that. Wow, they go for Nazebo. So they're saying this is the second best opportunity for us to get a Lunara. We are scaling into this late game. We want that mid to late game to really come across, and then we ramp up big time with these spiders. It will hinder their early game, but once that ramps up, that actually gives them a lot of racing potential as well.
Double mage as well, so something to keep in thoughts, I guess, because Uther, as we know, he can give a lot of armor, sure, but the spell armor, not quite as much as, say, another support, had they known that this is what NMD were going to draft. Don't think it'll hamper them. As you said, it's about that late game, which team can reach it first, because Nazebo and Lunara, they're ticking time bombs. They scale so well into the late game because of their poison.
Probably be the one hero you have to be concerned of right now for NMD, especially with the displacement that you can see that's coming out here from Dark-Sided. Prioritized basically all around the Garrosh. So if they get the flip in Nazebo, he won't get the stacks. I mean, this is not really an ideal map for him in the first place to get those stacks. So I would imagine he probably won't even go for the Vial Infection at level 20, even if it reaches that stage. But here we go. Final game of the night. Final game of the Season 4 circuit. Dark-Sided up against NMD. What a way to finish it. Level 1-1. That matches the scoreline. It's 1-1 in this best of 3. Vandy, why don't you kick off these teams for us?
Sure thing. On the red side, it's Team NMD, led by Hiccup, playing Li Ming, Lahal on Rhaegar, Vicarak playing Leoric, Physics on Nazebo, and Icebolt on Mirrodin.
And in the blue trunks, it is Team Dark-Sided. Demise leading them out as Tychus, Haki on Lunara this time, Moops playing Uther, Session on Malthael, and Garrosh every single time it's Robodoba.
I like that you call him Garrosh. So fancy, Skimmy.
Well, don't meme on my accent. I mean, I get enough at work.
It's just because we love it. And one thing that I wanted to point out, noticing their team compositions, was that because Moops had played Rhaegar last time, every time Robodoba did do a flip, great. But there wasn't that immediate follow-up into the stun. This time they have it. So I think it's going to be a lot more deadlier and expected to have a lot more bite.
Yeah, 100%. That was big, really a big factor for them last time. They get the flips, but only really working if you can get them behind a tower, which isn't always so reliable. So this time, a lot of pairing and synergy between both Robodoba and Moops to look out for. Early game pressure, I mean, you have to give it towards Dark-Sided for the most part. But, I mean, to flick it across, there's definitely a lot of damage that can follow up from Icebolt. He's always known for playing those playmaking or setting up tanks. So that's where you had to put all your eyes in the basket. But right now, top lane, Vicarak, he's going to go for the tap. He goes for the tap. He's going to survive through that Reaper's Mark. And now Field ties to Nexus Forces.
MVP Nexus Forces, and the little sunglasses Zul spray comes out as well. I love Leoric's walk as well. It's like a strut. So Vicarak walked back, tapped without a care in the wild. All planned, he's saying. But that's kind of smart. I mean, I'd be a little bit tilted off of that if I was Sashin.
I mean, he had the swag walk. He just walks away and goes, "You're not going to kill me. I've got the tap. It's all good, baby." And he just dies and falls on the ground. Zul glasses on the floor say, "Look, I can pretend to be a Zul. I'm still dead. I'm still a bone necromancer, whatever you want me to be. And I'll still get those kills." But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Physics is the... Well, he's the one in contest. I mean, that's what we're talking about. If he gets flipped, he's in a whole world of trouble. Can they equalize it somehow? Moops is low, down to 40. He does fall in the end. The poison damage comes across Hiccup with whatever he can do with these resets, looking for the damage to the hull pouncing on him. But the Uther clone is enough to keep him topped up. Casualties across the board. It's a 2-for-1 as we reach the first Immortal phase.
It was almost going to be a 3-for-1. If that orb hadn't whizzed by Haki's head, perhaps they could have picked up another one on Lunara. So low, but great turn. Yeah, it looked as though Nazebo was the one to pay the price, but by getting 2 kills out of that, NMD, they flipped that one quite well and allowed them to get an early start on this Immortal. We see teams, you don't really focus too much about defending on the first one just because of its potential to race and the fact that the Immortal then switches to your side of the map. Death time is also being so low, playing a huge part into that.
What I'm really noticing right now from both of these team comps would be that Dark-Sided have the better wave, better race potential, but NMD have the better poke. They're going to have both Li Ming and Nazebo just chucking spiders and orbs and all things magic missiles across from the board. But Leoric, I mean, not really one of the best picks on this map. He gets taken out for free. Tychus just shredding for his health pool.
does fall quite a lot, but remember his passive means that he can come back quite quickly, and he's looking just to stall this one out. Similar to what Garrosh and Uther were doing before, they were just zoning off NMD from that. So NMD, they do actually manage to capture the first Immortal. That beginning fight, because they managed to pick off those members so close to Immortal spawning, it was enough of a lead that they needed. They do have the slower Immortal race, but they came out on top.
I'd actually say job well done to Vikrak there. He just ran in 1v5, said, look, I don't really care for that. As you mentioned, I've got the Undying passive. I can just survive and I can just come back from the grave. He baits the attention of 5 members in the end. Demise committing for the kill there. That could have been a difference between them actually winning the race and losing.
Yeah, it's exactly the stall tactics that came out. He didn't really have much to lose. Deaths as well, at this time, you only get negligible experience. It's all about the wave clear, and more importantly, the structures. That's where you get the majority of your experience. So, like I said, NMD, the fact that they managed to capitalize this, when Darksided have the comp to be able to race down the Immortal, that's how you know you've done a good job.
And the Immortal is going to find a fair bit of value with this first one. Tower Gate, they all fall, and the fort drops down to half, so not a bad siege to open things up here from NMD. And, I mean, compliments to them. They, as we mentioned, they had the bit of poke, but they had the ability to win the race in what seemed a wee bit questionable from them. But as I was mentioning before, I mean, Iceboard is known for playing these almost set-up tanks. He's looking to get stuns, looking to get people in precarious situations. But Robodoba gets the most meaty of all meaty wall breakers as he tosses them across. And they're going to all fight for this Khazra. Is the Khazra really where you want to die? 2 people once again flipped across, and Lahar was the first one to fall.
Great stuff by Darksided, flipping it on their head. As you said, the moment they tried to run Groundbeko, come back right here, let us capitalize on this. They do get the Khazra for their troubles, but more importantly, Darksided, they recovered well. The experience, there was never going to be such a huge experience lead, not this early in, not just based off kills, as I said. They need to get that fort for any real impact on the experience bars, but they recovered so well from that.
That they did, and now Darkseid to go for a very early Shaman Camp pickup. So potentially looking to actually utilize this one rather than let it do its own split push mechanics during that Immortal phase. They're going to make light work of that one. The response already from NMD is saying we need to retaliate and we need to respond by doing the exact same. So they're going to begin it in their own due fashion. But Hiccup, I mean, so far so good. I mean, these cooldowns have been coming off. They're getting the kills, they're getting the damage, they're doing what they need to do with this. And the top lane, after shenanigans to start off with, which, to be honest, was a bit of a meme fest, it's all stabilized as we reach the second Immortal phase in 10 seconds.
All stabilized. Session says, you don't get tilted. At least, not when you're me. He came back, he recovered very well from it. Knows that it's the end game that they need to worry about. Knows that it's the next couple of Immortals that they need to have their eyes on. Both teams timed it very well. Oh, Lunara taking so much enemy Haki. The cleanse had to be used to make sure that he got out of harm's way.
Yeah, it was a bit of a delay cleanse as well, but Haki, thankfully so, does not die. The armor really going in overtime right there. And that's forcing Moops to react quite responsively. But now it is the Immortal phase, the all-important part at that. Vikrak joins the crew, rocking up to the 5-man party. And they're all going to go on the aggression. They want to force this one. Robodoba was hunting for that flip. He cannot find it. But the poke we were discussing is going to work, and it's going to do a lot.
It is the poke coming out, so nice, but the flip finally goes out. It's on Icebolt, however, one of the tanky and beefy frontliners.
That it is, and they switch their attention right now to Vikrak, who, he had to receive the cleanse from Lahal, and thankfully so, he would have met the wrath of the PvE stun. He gets away on 300 health, and both of these teams look to stabilize now, but both supports are very low on resources, forced to use that well tap, and forced to back away. And the Immortals, well, not really much has happened to them.
They're just doing their thing, you know, flinging out shots at each other. But this is going to be the round 2 show, except it's more just the tap and reset show. So with their health and mana topped up on both sides, Physics, he's thrown to the backline.
That's Physics in the backline. As you mentioned, the zombie wall was good on towards Robodoba, now allowing to get the flank from Vikrak, who does make light work of it. The grip is there, and the drain. The draining of all the health, reminiscent of game number 2, comes across and he secures it. Now, in a 4v5 situation, can he secure the Immortal as well? That would be the dream. Both these Immortals are almost identical in health though, Vandy.
They are, because a lot of what Sashin was doing was making sure that he was putting short work. It just takes one person, Malthael, with that percentile base damage. It was enough for him to proc it. They don't want to fight bang on up with a 4v5, so very smart choice by Darksided. Instead, they know you do have the Malthael. You can still shred down that Immortal quite easily, even if you lose it. Still early game. Starting to progress into mid-game, so he's not going to pack too much more of a punch. It's how they siege with it now, because all 5 members of NMD are up, and more importantly, level 10 will be unlocked in this push.
What kind of sieging tools do NMD have right now? Once again, it's really going to be that poking factor, but heavily reliant on Nazir, but not the strongest, not much the same as you'd have with a Greymane. But the anti-siege, once again, from Darksided is fantastic. You obviously got the flip, you then got the Malphite that can do work to the Immortal, and that is the flip, and that's the stun, and that is the kill.
Oh, just takes one flip, one good Warbreaker, and into that Wrecking Ball to wreck. What else can I say, Skinny? So the siege potential already, you can see how much they've been forced to back off now. Because with that member down, they don't want to overcommit. They don't want it to happen again. That's just trading more deaths, more experience. Let's turn our attention, see where else we can find value. But that means that the fort does not fall.
You know the funny thing though as well, Vandy, is Malphite wasn't even there. They said, look, we are so confident in our ability to defend this that we don't even need him. So he was in the bot lane doing work against Leoric, and they net the kill, as you said. Nazeebo being that big weakling that they can target and abuse all day long, especially until level 13, 16, and 20 are unlocked, and that's what they want to accelerate. A slight lead, half-level lead, Khazra picked up as their victory prize. Now they try and even out the scales of things, breaking down their very first few towers.
So it's just a swap at the moment, a trade. So both teams are reading it out. The only difference is Vicarak is not with his team. He's just watching on. He knows that he does not want to trade a kill. Yes, he's got Undying, but what point is it to die for this? It's better to just trade it out. He doesn't have the wave clip, more importantly, to deal with the Khazra camp, just hammering away in the back.
This is actually looking good, though, because it's going to survive. No, it is going to fall, but the collapse can come across from NMD if they desire. The Whisper's there for vision. They know where they're coming from. They would have known anyway, regardless. Stun goes out. It's on to Moops, and they say, look, this is our fight to go for. The flip is there. Odin in the backline, completely uncontested. Picking apart Hiccup, who's instantly forced to back away. And that is the Tormented Souls of Dreams. 4 members locked in its grasp. The whole falls, but the Ancestral connects. And that's what they need. But Darksided are running rampant with this team fight. They find 2, find 3. The trade is down to Malphite finally, but it's going to be a 4-man ace, and that is going to be the ace with the 5th member, Vicarak, falling to the ground.
Great turn by Darksided. Once again, they're cool, they're composed, they know what they have to do. A lot of what went right for them was demise. He was off in that little wing in the fog of war. He did a stealth Odin. I don't know how you can be stealthy with something that big that clatters around that much, but he managed to do it. And then you could see the backline. It was completely laid bare. He ripped into them, and with those backlines gone, there was just no way that they were going to be able to win that fight. And the Tormented Souls, combined with the Divine Shield, shredded them, Skinny. Sashin did what he set out to do. He fell in the fight, sure, but almost an entire team trade. No, in fact, it was an entire team trade.
That was indeed, but the respawn timers are so quick. There's only 10 minutes into this one, so they can come back to the Immortal phase, which has begun in that first round, and they got a fair chunk of damage on it. About, 8,000 damage to be specific. But the big talking point will be the fact that Darksided have level 13 over their opponents, so they can look to command not only this, the Shamans, but the fights themselves.
You can see the little timid poke coming out by NMD. They're just scouting for vision. They want to defend because they are so aware of that level 13. More importantly, they can't. They sent Vicarak as well to deal with the incoming push. I like that the Darkside boys as well, they're not rattled. They had the time to even take their camp, say, all right, what do you value more, defending this Immortal or defending your bot lane?
Well, right now they have so many windows to actually execute upon. They're going to say, look, you're not 13, you can't fight us. Now you have to send somebody to the bot lane, you still can't fight us. So, Darksided think we've got all these tools in our basket that, I mean, it could be a picnic with your tools. It could be anything you want at this stage. It's just looking really attractive for them so far, and that will be enough damage to flick it across to phase number 2. It's going to be up to Vicarak here to try and do whatever he can to soak these minions, deny these Shamans, and hit 13 for some form of retaliation.
And looks like a pause has been called out. Perhaps one of the members of NMD experienced a couple of troubleshooting issues, but that does not matter. We can just take stock of how the game is unfolding, how people's quests are progressing, very importantly. So saw Physics, he has managed to finish Widowmakers. He's going the Corpse Spiders build and Robodoba as well. That Groundbreaker, he's only 5 more away from getting the 3rd tier reward, which is the big one, the one that you want, because it means that the cooldown gets reduced by 3 seconds, meaning it's up more often. He can spam it out.
And why do you want to spam it out? Because they're all-important level 13 defensive measures. Every time it lands successfully, you get a meaty shield. That's the fight that was to be forced. Level 13 still not there for NMD. Session with a 1-man Tormented Souls onto the backline, but the fight is breaking out on towards Physics as well by this Immortal Haki leaping on in for the style points. Divine Shield coming across to ensure that Odin can rock on into this fight. 1 falls, that's the second that's going to fall. The trade once again onto Session. He falls. And, I mean, it's becoming a progressive slugfest that could work actually in favor of NMD.
It is Avatar form being finally popped. Only now, if they can get that kill on Robodob, it's another reset. But look at this Haki and Demise. They don't mind. They want the Immortal.
That is the pure power of Garrosh. He baited 2 members so low, they put all their attention into him, and that allowed all the other low members of Darksided to collapse across. Now looking for the final kill. The grenade is there! And Li Ming does fall to the ground, staggered deaths, as they now can switch their attention back onto his very, very powerful immortal.
Power of Garrosh, now I've called him that, Garrosh, the ability to bait. And that's exactly it, Skimmy. They need to turn their attention onto Demise as well as onto Hacky. But look at this, because they were forced to retreat, they can at least do some damage onto this shield. Sashin is there, he will be able to finish off this Immortal. But as I said, it's all about reducing the shield that they have to deal with in the Return Immortal that will be sieging them.
That shield literally just went from 22,000 to 7,000. What a massive difference that NMD have made. Vikrak is going to buy some vision, the human ward, the human grave, as he falls once again. But now, with level 16 looming, half a level until it is unlocked, with this minion wave and with this Immortal as well, they can look to actually try and close this game out.
Physics is just finally happy. Because of 13, he has that all-important ice block. He can buy those precious seconds. If that fight had happened much earlier when they were level 13, Physics could have ice blocked, his team could have surrounded. Totally different story. But that's exactly what happens if you fight at a disadvantage of talent tiers. You need to expect that.
That they do, and they make light work of that fort. The Immortal's still quite healthy, up to about 60% roughly. And with the 16 advantage, a 2-level lead, that's absolutely massive. Double the kills and double the sieging potential. The Odin's going to be popped, they mean business. This keep is going to fall.
It is Robot over. Wall of Zombies not phased at all. So much armor. If it's not his own passive armor, it's the armor that Uth is throwing across and Moves is giving him. The Immortal's still healthy, still going to siege. Oh, look at that. Instant ice block by Physics.
Perfect from Physics. He needed to make sure that he wasn't a casualty very early on to this one. Maybe the keep does survive down to half. And I would argue that's all because Physics actually lived through that one. It would have been a very different situation otherwise. They flip Icebot and he pops up and says, let's brawl, let's fight. And they say, no, not today. Despite 16, they don't want that scrap. They just back away from these night camps.
Absolutely. If Physics had fallen, there's no sort of uncertainty in my mind that Darkseid would not have capitalized and tried to siege and take down that keep. Because with the keep being down, this constant pressure, catapult spawn, we know the rest, surely. And they aren't yet done. They really do want to push down and win this.
Looks like we're coming back for round number 2 now with Kazra in mind. The buddies have joined up, the third buddies. Almost like the third buddies, the third wheels, that's the word I'm looking for. The third wheels that you want in your life, not the awkward ones. But Shamans are pushing Unconsistent in the top lane. If that's left undevised, I mean, that fort will fall. Not only that fort, but that's pressure on a keep too.
That fort will fall, and more importantly, it's going to net them experience. The reason why Darksided is so aggressive is because 16.
And that they are, and they instantly toss in Leoric, and he gets taken out very, very quickly. Session, once again, with these Divine Shields, is making light work. Whenever that Tormented Soul is available, he is in a 1v4 situation. I mean, look at him. Where is his team? Nowhere to be seen, but he does not have a single care in the world. The Keep is dead. The Odin is popped. Still no 16. They look to try and go for the core, but now they're forced to back away because the Immortal's up in 15 seconds.
They did the job they were set up to do, and if NMD were able to stall a little bit longer till they got 16, you would have seen Darkseid, they would have backed up, they would not have taken that fight. Oh, great Odin coming out, and Vikarak falls. Perfect! I love that turnaround by NMD.
Fantastic performance there from NMD. They had the ultimates available from that fight to use. They hit 16 and they capitalized on a huge mistake there for Tychus to be caught out in that position. And now they're forced to clear out top lane as well. So a lot of time has been bought. That's going to allow potentially this first phase to go in favor of NMD uncontested.
Darkseid, they really overstayed their welcome there. They all needed to go to the Immortal, but as you said, Demise, he was just a bit slow for the rotate. Sashin as well, he hid because he thought that they were going to hunt after him, the NMD boys, but they're not interested in chasing kills. They want to get this objective. These Immortals will start to lay down some serious work, as we can see.
But it will. First phase is complete. Coming into the second phase right now, and NMD are just going to put all their attention into this one. Say, look, we need to win this one. 17 minutes into this game, we can look to try and end the game with it. The fight is about to break out. There is no Malthael, no Tormented Souls as well, but that's the Entomb. What can they do to collapse upon it? It's Vikarak and a Drain right now. Drain Hope is not there, but they win the Immortal, and that's the big talking point. A 30,000 shield, Vandy.
Vikarak in a dream. I love it, Skimmy. The dream lives on because they managed to force Darkseid to back off, but more importantly, they secured the Immortal with a huge shield. It only took a scratch of damage. They really were enabled that because of that pick onto Demise. And Tomb as well. It's on such a short cooldown. You can afford to throw it out here and there because it resets in only 50 seconds, less than a minute.
Odin is popped and Robodobo on the mat, ready to look for that one decisive ground breaker. Last time they had the Immortal, that was the big talking point. They found the pick, and they were able to net the win. He's going to be posturing. Keep your eyes on where he's at. Tormented Souls is available once again, so Session has been such a pivotal moment in making sure that finds some value, loosens up the team, tenderizes them, so to speak, and gets the kills as a result. The Entomb is there. The Cleanse comes out very early on. Divine Shield has to be forced. Nesta to turn around straight away, but they look to try and take out Nazib at the same time. He's overexposed. Ice Block buys him a lot of time. How can NMD respond to the throw? Vikrak is still in that Spectre Wrath. He's not looking to do much at this stage. He's got the Drain Hope looking to try and survive. The Immortal breaks through the keep. They equalize that bot lane, but still no kill.
It's absolute havoc. The Immortal, he's finally going to fall, but NMD, they instantly back off. They don't want to get caught. They don't want the turnaround, exactly like they did to Darksided. They did what they needed to do, and no one was traded. More importantly, Physics looked like he was in the most precarious position, but Iceblock, it shows how valuable that level 13 Talon is. Lahal connected the Ancestral Heal, and that's all they needed.
Going on in right now, they're looking for it. Entomb is up in 5 seconds. Every other ultimate is down right now. Leaping Strike is the big one. That's all that Darksiders have to play around with so far. Vikrak is doing so much work that Shaman Camp still isn't being picked up. Vikrak is going to fall, and Entomb comes out at the very last second, locking in 3 members. Icebolt on that point. He gets flipped, he gets tossed. He's looking to do whatever he can. Warlord's challenge is there, and Earth is the first one to fall, but it's just chaos across the board. You can hear Leeming popping on off with those cooldowns. It's going to work in favor so far in a 2v2 situation. Who even wins in this trade?
I mean, I think it's going to go down ultimately to Darksided because their backline is relatively untouched. Hacky Demise lived to tell the tale. They only managed to get the tank and the support. Well, I don't know what they were doing for so long, but I think they were confused because the Shaman Camp did not cap, because what happened was one of the leash dogs was out in the fight, and I don't think they realized Vikrak, he was standing on the camp for so long wondering where it was, and it really punished him. A lot of the turnaround, he needed to be turning his attention onto members of Darksided.
Yeah, that was a pretty scrappy fight. No team had any ultimates available to them except for that Leaping Strike, so it was back to basics. It was back to level 9, if you will. But the big talking point really has to be that they were given a second chance at this one. Level 20 will be picked up by Darksided. They'll have the advantage going into this next Immortal phase, spawning in 10 seconds. They're going to clear out these Khazra, clear out these cannons, let the lane push once again back into their favor. Look to try and get 20 off themselves, because one team fight at this stage will seal the deal, seal the victory, seal the game, set and match.
This is an awkward position to be put in because you want that all-important level 20, but you want the Immortal. This is where things can get quite hairy. NMD need to tread super carefully in this one, because if they die now, there's already that exposed path. Same goes to Darksided.
Yeah, Darksided straight away shredding on through that Immortal's health, but actually not a bad turnaround from NMD. Despite going to it so late, they can look to try and change things around in towards phase 2. They go back to the bot lane looking to clear it once again, but 19 3/4, it's just not enough. Looking at Physics as well, where's he at in stacks? Up to 112, so expect to see at 20. Not that Vile Infection. He needs to find value in other ways. I'd imagine the Gargantuan Evolution.
Yeah, could be generally the safest time to go, especially if you don't have the desired stacks, and if you don't anticipate the game to go any more longer. Icebolt, he's opening it up for his team. I think at this time they're just poking. They want to delay the Immortal. All the while, though, that Khazra camp is pushing on in that top lane.
Yeah, not really known for being the strongest in terms of sieging, but definitely in terms of outranging. And right now it's standing very far away out of that tower's range. And it will slowly start to work on that second keep, which is what Darksided want. You can see they're playing passively, waiting for it, saying, look, now's our time to go for it. Divine Shield is there, Tormented Souls onto 4, shredding, life leeching, doing whatever he can to find the kills, and Leoric is the first one to fall.
And Icebolt's in the back line, he's trying to get work, but he's also being completely shredded. Hiccup, he's trying to get a kill onto Sashin, who's staying alive. Even time for a B-step.
He even, I was going to say, even B-stepping to get the taunt across. That's the Ancestral that Physics needs. What can he do to try and turn things around? It's not going to be enough. Malfio does fall in the end, but Nazebo, ooh, he does go down. He does go down, and despite 5 kills happening every single part of the map, Redemption is available for Uber, so it does result in a 4-man. And Hacky says, how's that going? Jumps on in, gets a kill for style points. He might actually get punished. Wow, he still manages to live. And that could be the key. I mean, that could be the core.
That will be the core, I believe. Death time is still so long. They're at their doorstep. Hacky, with that Galloping Gate, sealed the deal by getting that kill. It's only going to be Vikrak alive to defend this one, and I don't think he can do much. Warlord's challenge, he's just getting manhandled.
The core is going to fall. The GGs have been called as well. And as you say, yeah, people are down for such a long time. 20 seconds at the least. Moops may just fall down once again. Stuns the minion for good measure. and this call will fall as slowly as it may, but that is going to seal the deal. Darksider going 2-1 on the night.
That's all she wrote, really. So they did not even need to bother about the Immortals. As I said, it all came down to that one important fight. And, I mean, props to NMD. I think that they were really looking to see if they could hit 20 a little bit early into that fight, but they knew that they had to go. Vikraki was trying to get a catch, but the Divine Shield was so good. Tormentor Souls opened it up, and yeah, the rest is all she wrote, Skimmy. We saw it all unfold, and you could see the damage coming out onto their tanks. Even with Avatar mode, Icebolt, he melted as Murden. That's how much percentile-based shred they had. And it was just Demise and Hacky wailing on him.
Yeah, I mean, it almost came down to just the draft itself catering far better to Darksiders, something they're comfortable with, something that they're well versed at, and something you can actually see, despite there being a few moments of shakiness, they were able to recover, stabilize, and go for the win in the end. 9 deaths on Leoric. I mean, you can see how much vision he was providing with his team. A few shaky moments there when he went for camps and for fights that didn't really work out in their favor. But that does it for Season 4. Our 4 teams have been locked in now, are going to land. That is Darksided, Nomia, Crimson, and NMD. So we look forward to the September finals on the 30th of September at that. But that does it for us. Thank you so much for myself, Vandy. But for the meantime, back to Crisis.
Thank you, Skimmy. And what a game in the end. Tight all the way through to the final. A few fights, and Darksided coming out on top there, but I had the feeling throughout that match it could have gone either way. So we have one more thing to do, and that is to do our final draw, our final raffle draw. And as I said, if we can scrape together enough codes to give the winner both a Stukov and a Garrosh code, that's what we'll do. So let us head on over to the little robot, beep boop, and there's the last ones coming in. Moops getting it in and hitting the close. And congratulations to Blank Hots who picks it up. And I'm actually quite pleased that Blank is the winner of that, because we needed to say thank you to him anyway. He joined GL Phoenix in the off-air matches that were recorded straight to VOD to assist with the casting there. So pretty cool to see another potential rookie caster entering the scene. That's a great sign. You know, this year has been a year of growth for everybody. Growth for GameStar, growth for the Heroes of the Storm scene, growth for just the general number of teams and players involved, and fantastic to see the growth in the casters as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep you up any longer. It has been a fantastic year. Thank you for joining us throughout. Thank you for your support. It's been wonderful to have you along. We cannot wait for the 30th of September to come and bring on 2018. We've been talking to Blizzard ANZ about what's going to happen in 2018, and it's going to be huge. So bring on 2018. But let's not jump the gun. See you on the 30th of September for the Blizzard ANZ Heroes of the Storm Finals. See ya.